Hello everybody, it's Kyrix with more Let's Play Harvest Moon Back to Nature, and we're about to start playing, because reasons. But first, there's some prep time to be dealt with. What prep time might that be, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. We gotta make some ice cream, but first we gotta make it happen. And, yeah. I need one of those and one of these. Let's see. Oops. No. Don't you dare pull that out. Okay, ice cream, according to the recipe. Read the receipt. Alright, milk, egg, sugar, pot, whisk. Yeah. The knife could work too, but I don't have it, so reasons. Pot, whisk, seasonings. Just sugar. Double check. If I had the knife, that would be a thing as well. I would try the honey, but it doesn't add as much, and I don't want to overdo it. Whoops. No. No. Try cooking with this. Pineapple ice cream for the win. This should be good. Tomorrow's the festival for cooking, and I'm gonna win it with my pineapple ice cream. Thanks to Barley, who recommended it to me. All because I gave him a birthday present. Well, of course it's gonna be sunny, it's tomorrow. Also, dog. Come here, dog. Speaking of pets, I have a new kitten. Although we're still in a bit of a trial process. Kisa isn't very fond of her, to say the least. Now, that's not to say he's aggressive towards her. He hisses on sight, but he's never made any move towards her. Matter of fact, the one time we actually left him to his own devices, his response was to hiss and walk away. So, he doesn't like her, but he's not aggressive towards her, which is good. And she's a little red tabby that we found, and her name is Honey. My niece wanted to name her Apricot because of her coloring, and I told her, no, let's name her Honey. Because I was already calling her that anyway. It's just a generic term of endearment for animals, and I'm like, oh, Honey works. She's been living in my niece's bathroom, because we can't turn her loose with Kisa being violently opposed to her being in the house. Well, not violently, but loudly opposed. That's the word I want. So, yeah, that's a thing. Now, I say we're in a bit of a trial period because we found her as a stray, living basically in a, well, not abandoned, but in a slightly torn up shed. And I say slightly torn up, meaning part of the bottom of the door was missing, and that's how she got in and out. There's a guy behind a restaurant who has been leaving cat food for her, and she's been tearing into that, and that's what she's been eating. And there is the possibility that she is someone's pet, because she is very friendly. But it would be incredibly irresponsible to turn a kitten this young out. She didn't even have all her grown-up teeth yet. She's still got a bunch of her baby teeth. Like, she just has her front teeth, and the other ones haven't even grown in yet, kind of, teeth. So, it's more than just irresponsible for her to be out at this age unattended, which lends the credence to the idea that she might be a stray. Now, naturally, I told my niece, keep an ear out, look for any signs, listen for anyone who's missing their red tabby kitten. And if we find them, we're naturally going to give them back to their owner, and naturally going to chew them a new ass because my niece has seen this kitten for several days out there, which lends even more credence to her being a stray. But, kitten loves being petted, hates being held. I mean, she's getting used to it because we've been handling her all day, so she'll sit. And we're also pretty sure she was taken away from her mother too soon. Because she needs constantly. And when I say constantly, when she sees a person, she begins to need the ground. But she's a real sweetheart. She's an absolute cuddle bug. The dog adores her. To the point where when I was bringing the kitten home, the dog was trying to knock me down to get the kitten. Wasn't planning to hurt her, just wanted to see her and play with her. And this is hilarious because our dog is a Chihuahua. She's a big Chihuahua. She's like pug-sized, but still, this is a Chihuahua trying to knock down a grown man who is between 5'9" and 5'11", depending on who's doing the measuring, Because most places have me at 5'9", my ID actually lists me as 5'11" for reasons. And this Chihuahua is trying her hardest to knock me over to get to a kitten. To the point where my niece had to pick her up to get her to stop. And then she tried to violently squirm loose. And I brought the kitten over to her so that she could sniff, and her result was to playfully nip the kitten's ear. Not with any kind of force. The kitten didn't even respond, for example. But anyway, Keith is still getting used to her. And she finally came out from behind the toilet. She spent about 80% of the day hiding behind the toilet. So she's feeling secure enough that she doesn't need to live behind the toilet anymore, and that's a good thing, obviously. Because we don't need toilet kittens. Now she just kind of lays on the rug in front of the tub. And it's going to be a couple days before she has the run of the house, simply because Kisa just isn't having it. And while I don't think he's not a particularly aggressive cat, and I don't think he would hurt her, but he is a 16-pound Bombay adult. About, let's see, I got him when I was 6, so yeah, he's going on in September 9 years of age. So he is a fully grown adult male, humongous, non-declawed Bombay. And she is about a 2.5-pound, tiny, skinny, red tabby kitten who has her claws, but they're not very long or sharp, and doesn't have all her teeth. So if he wants to hurt her, he will. And even if he's not trying to hurt her, he probably still will. So even when they get along, they won't have any unsupervised play for quite some time. At least until she either gets bigger or proves that she can take him in a fight. Yeah, so, and I'm not laughing at the idea, but, I mean, you've got to understand, this is a dog, or this is a cat, who outweighs the Chihuahua. Again, I know most of you people think, oh, Chihuahua, little dog, little toy dog. No. Think more along the lines of Pug or Jack Russell Terrier in terms of this dog's size and girth. And Kisa's still got like 4 pounds on her. So, yeah, Vanilla may be a small dog, but she's not a small dog, And Kisa is a huge cat. So naturally, I worry that if he decides to get violent, he can really mess her up, which is why he's only once been allowed to see her without being held, and even then, I had my hand on his collar the entire time. At first, I actually had him on a leash, in case he lunged for her, which he's shown no inclination of doing. He's perfectly content to just completely ignore that she's in there. When he sees her, he hisses, and then he just wants to walk away. But it's not like hiss and then puff my back and chase. You know, it's hiss, and then I'm going over here. Because, like I said, fortunately, Kisa is a very chill cat. A very relaxed, very well-behaved little cat. Who, nonetheless, if he were so inclined, could cause some pretty serious damage to that poor little kitten. Which is why they're not allowed anywhere near each other without people around yet. I know I fed the fish, but did I feed the fish? 69... Yep, I fed the fish. Now, I saw something online, it was the only thing I found without deep searching, that basically suggests it takes about a season for a fish to grow large, at which point each large fish has a single small fish, or something like that. Which is a very slow way to do things unless you have a lot of fish, which right now I have 8, that's going to be 16, and 32, etc. So I might have to supplement my fish with more fish. But I will endeavor to try. I don't think it takes all season. I think it takes a certain amount of food. But again, a certain amount of food, but only once per day. Otherwise, I would literally just buy 100 food, spam it all in there, and then buy 100 more and spam that in there. Also, I love how the one in the middle basically is left to show you this is what they look like when they're ripe, so you don't keep trying to pick stripped bark. So yeah, Kisa's having not jealousy issues, but mild sense of insecurity. Which we've been countering by petting the kitten and then petting him. And then holding the kitten and then holding him and mixing their scents. We do have to get the kitten to the vet. Not that there's anything wrong with her that we can tell, but because it's very hard to tell with animals sometimes. They don't say, oh, by the way, I have this nasty cough, or I feel really weak in the mornings, or something like that. So when we get some money to spare, we're going to take her into the vet, and so on. And that will be a thing. And we will get a good thing. Now, I'm not worried about Kisa. I'm actually more worried about the kitten. Kisa's shots are up to date. He goes to the vet twice a year for regular checkups. His shots are entirely up to date, etc. So the only things he could potentially catch from her are stuff that there are no vaccines for. So I'm not concerned. However, Kisa has had upper respiratory infection in the past. And, I've seen conflicting sources on this. I've seen one source that says once a cat has upper respiratory infection, it never goes away, it's always dormant, it's always contagious, etc. And I've seen things that says, oh, there's certain forms of it that they just get and leave, like a cold. A severe cold that can potentially kill them, but a cold nonetheless. So, hopefully Kisa has the cold version. Not that he has a cold, but hopefully that's the one he has. That's the one that's not likely to spread to the kitten. Because that could cause a lot of money to be lost. And I don't want to lose money. I also don't want the kitten to be sick. And not in that order. I do very much concern myself with the kitten's well-being. Which is why she's locked in the bathroom and Kisa is alternatingly in my room and allowed to roam. He's currently roaming because he's driving me nuts because he's suddenly, this happens a lot of times, but he's suddenly hyper as crap. He just wants to run and play and knock stuff over. And I even got him a toy because we bought the kitten a toy, one of these little feather duster wand things that cats like to chase and bad at. And I felt, well, it's cruel to get the kitten a toy without getting Kisa a toy. So we got him a toy, and neither one of them could give two shits about that thing. They don't like it. The kitten ignores it, and he's barely even acknowledging that it exists. Which is most of the reason why I don't get him toys. But of course, I keep reassuring him, I'm like, it's okay, you're not being replaced, she's not going to be eating your food, she's not going to use your litter box, she doesn't even want your catnip. Because I put some on him, and then I tried to give her some, and she's like, no. Oh god. The best thing is Vanilla, the dog, saw me with the bag of catnip. And of course, to her, bag means treat. Especially since I have bags of cat treats that look just like this. And I do give her some, because she wants them, when I give the cat treats. So, she sees me with the catnip, and she's just, oh god, so excited, her butt's waggling and everything. All those happy things that dogs do when they get real excited. So anyway, I decide, what the heck, some dogs like catnip, maybe Vanilla does too. And I hold some up for her, and she opens her mouth to eat it, catches just the barest hint of a scent of it, sniffs it, and immediately just backpedals. And that's not even where the story ends. Not even 5 minutes later, I give Key some more catnip. She sees it again, gets excited again, same bag, and does the exact same thing. It was hilarious to me. See, maybe it's because Japanese schools and American schools are a little different. But that, to me, sounds very unusual because I can't think of a time in elementary, middle, or high school where I would just have the run of the library in last period. Or at all, really. The closest I ever came was one of three things. I had been known to skip lunch in middle school and just spend it at the library. Same thing in high school, by the way. I've been able to do that in both cases. And just hang out, read books, that kind of thing. B, when I was doing particularly well in classes, I would ask the teacher and get permission to just go to the library for the entire period, especially if I was up ahead. And C, the complete opposite, because I did not necessarily apply myself well. I had a reputation for just either sleeping through classes or reading through classes. Sleeping through them because I am incredibly nocturnal, and have been since, let's say, the very end of middle school to the start of high school. And there were other circumstances that contributed to that. But I am just hideously nocturnal. Painfully so. And I would sleep through classes. I actually had a pillow in my backpack, but not for that. I'll get into that in a minute. So my backpack was immensely comfy and contributed rather heavily to me sleeping in classes. And I am a prolific reader. And, well, whoops, no. And I would often read in my classes as well. So sometimes the teacher, recognizing that I'm not going to get any work done, or that I'm not paying attention or whatever, would just let me go to the library. Because it's not doing any good to try and correct me, because I keep doing it. And it wasn't doing them any good to be distracted by me either, so that way I'm just going to read anyway. So why not send me to a place where I can read? Now that being said, my grades were decent because The reason I was reading in class is because I was bored out of my head. Why was I bored out of my head? Well, unless it was math class or one of my elective classes like printing, which I've also gone into, is because I read ahead in the textbook. So I already knew the material. We were covering stuff that I was 6 chapters ahead already, so I didn't see the need to pay attention. Of course, when a teacher assigned a test that I took, thinking, oh, I'm going to catch him. No, I knew exactly what was going on. So that also helped. Now, the flip side is homework. I didn't do it. And homework accounts for roughly half your grade, so I had the bizarre distinction of passing every single test and almost all the classwork that we were given, and failing or just barely coasting through the class because I didn't do the homework. And one of my teachers stumbled across a very creative solution. It was in my first high school, and I don't remember what it was. Basically, we had ISS, in-school suspension. And I was put in there because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And they sent my classwork, and it was discovered that one of the reasons I don't do homework and don't do some of the classwork is I physically hate writing. However, the ISS room had an electric typewriter, with which I began to just power through my classwork. Which led to the interesting situation of, just to get me caught up, putting me in school suspension so that I could typewriter my way through all my work and get caught up and not fail. This is notable for one other thing that happened at roughly the same time, one of the days I was in in-school suspension. I do not remember if this was one of those I need to do my classwork situations, or one of those I'm just being completely unmanageable situations, because I still had those. But we had the TV on a little bit, or maybe there was an announcement to put the TV on the news. And that's when I heard about Columbine. And it's a sad state of affairs of how the country is in, that I can say Columbine and nothing else, and you know exactly what I'm referring to in this case. The Columbine school massacre. I can't remember if it was a high school. I think it was a high school. That's the part I don't remember, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a high school, actually. But just... Where's my sheep? There she is. Hi, Phoebe. Good girl. But naturally, to have something like this happen, because there had been school shootings before, apparently, that I just wasn't privy to. But this is the first time pretty much any of us had ever heard of something like this. Oh, it literally colored my high school years. Forever. I have no idea how happy I was to be rid of high school, because every day, especially when I got back down to Pinellas County, every day was a thought of, it's going to be the day that some nut job is going to come into school and just blast everybody. The answer was no, fortunately, but it didn't help that in high school we had this immense cafeteria that took up half the school. And that's not an exaggeration. Half the school was cafeteria, the other half was hallways that branched out from the cafeteria. So, naturally, at any given time, roughly 80% of the students were in the cafeteria, where a school shooting had taken place before, apparently, or so I've been told. And if anybody wanted to kill students, that's where and when it would happen. And naturally, with a setup like this, it's impossible not to go through the cafeteria, which leads to massive paranoia. Now, the high school I was in before I was less worried about, because if a school shooting happened there, it was a more traditional maze of hallways. In order for some crazed gunman student, or adult, or whoever, who decided to shoot up the school, to get to me, they would actually have to go to where I was. It's not as simple as, oh, I'll just go in here and start shooting everybody. No, no. They would have to have chosen the exact hall that I was in at the time to be a threat to me. Fortunately, I never had to get through any school shootings, but nonetheless, it's something that I lived in perpetual fear of. Though, not to make this sound like it was a paralyzing fear, like, oh god, I don't want to go into the halls, the gunmen are out there. It was never like that, but it was just something in the back of my mind that, you know, this could be the day. And then I just got on with my day, like I always do. Kind of like you might be in an elevator and think, oh, is this the day that maintenance didn't do their job and the elevator drops out from under me? And depending on how high up you are, either severely injures or kills me? Who knows? Get on a roller coaster at Disney World. Oh, is this going to be a normal run? Or am I going to be on the news tonight as the kid who got his head taken off by the brambles on Splash Mountain? You know? It's one of those things. It's one of those little things that kind of nags in the back of your head and spoils all your fun. And yet, it doesn't stop you, usually, from doing things. You're still going to get on that elevator. You're probably still going to get on that roller coaster. I'm not getting on that roller coaster because I don't particularly care for them. Roller coasters leave me with a particular sensation that I can only really describe as your butt dropping out from under you. And I don't like that feeling, so I don't go on them. Plus, I don't like going that fast outside of a car. To be perfectly honest, I get a little nervous every time I get on the monorail at Disney World. Even though I know full well that the last thing Disney needs is a lawsuit due to the monorail breaking, so my guess is that they religiously maintain that thing. So, plus the concrete on that is really thick. I'm pretty sure that in order for that thing to fail, you would see it well in advance. So that's 2 red hearts. There's the blue again. Good, we're back to blue. Not this here. I'm actually very good at baking cakes, but I'm really good at cooking cookies from scratch. Even though they're going to continue to say all of the same things, I still have to talk to them because, again, it improves relationship values. She's so close. Oh, look at that charcoal there. Omelet, some kind of rice dish, maybe some curry. Fish, I'm guessing? Jam? I can't even begin to guess. You know, except for Karen's, I love the girl dearly, but wow, she needs to learn how to cook. I did. It's right here. Let's find out if it's me. Yes, you can ask him to judge now. Poor man. Except for last year, I still have flashbacks. I hear it's actually random which one of these two
Wins each year.
if you don't. Here we go. If I win, it's all thanks to Bart. It really doesn't bode well that he looks so constipated. Let's find out who won. Maybe me? Ah, damn. Should have stuck with the omelet. Damn. Oh well. No, sweetie. No booze. I'm a little surprised at that. Well, like I said, next year I will have all the tools I need. Huh, you're telling me. I tossed a pineapple into that. A pineapple! Tsunumibashi. No, you didn't tell me. I still don't know. I love the fact that he acts like eating her cakes is some kind of huge trial. Yeah, I hear you, kid. I'm hungry, too. See, I can actually understand that, because since I have a very not tainted, but damaged sense of smell, it really messes my sense of taste. My friend the HeroClix judge uses that as justification every time I don't like something he likes. Oh, it's because your taste is messed up. No, it's because I don't like it. But it basically explains to everyone, because everyone likes to, oh, you put enough salt on that? No, I didn't. That's why I'm adding more. Because I can't taste it otherwise. I actually have been known to season food to the point where I'm the only one who can eat it. Like, my friend, whom... He's recorded videos with me, but they've never aired yet. He goes under Snipe in them. I was the best man in his wedding. His, at the time, fiancé, actually at the time I think she was with his girlfriend, came over with him. Because she and I don't really get along well. I mean, that's not to say we fight or anything. We just... It's not like we would ever hang out independent of him. At all. But, they came over and I talked him into making... I want to say hamburgers. Yeah, hamburgers. And they salted theirs a little bit with my seasoning salt, and I told them to basically go nuts with mine. And somewhere along the way, we lost track of which one was mine. We found it when she took a bite of it, and it just about knocked her out. And then I proceeded to eat the entire thing. With no trouble. Likewise, when I make goulash, I have been known to season the meat to the point where sometimes even I have trouble with it. And then, after it's cooled down in the fridge and been reheated for other meals, I've been known to add the actual Lowry seasoned salt, which I use as my flavoring salt rather than my cooking salt, to it, to flavor it even more. So yeah, I have taste issues. Incidentally, I did the math. To get just my cows, not even the sheep, is going to cost me somewhere in the record of 69,000 gold. So yeah, it's going to be a couple harvests before that happens. And once it does, oh, the cheese I will make. But, so yeah, I have a kind of a warped sense of taste. I often tease my friend because, well, not tease him, but just tease everyone in general because I'll talk to him and mention whatever I'm eating and just say, oh, either Breakfast of Champions or my tummy is an alchemy lab. Which is how I honestly describe my stomach, as an alchemy lab. I just toss weird shit in there and hope gold comes out. You know? Like, let's put mustard and peanut butter on a hot dog. Or let's cover a hot dog in peanut butter. Heat up a hot dog, cover it in peanut butter, put it in a bun and put mustard on it, and try not to vomit. Turns out really good. Because the peanut butter adds some thickness to it, for lack of a better word. It thickens the hot dog out and makes it go farther. The mustard adds a little more flavor to it, because the peanut butter is kind of drowned out otherwise. And of course the bread also adds to the thickness of it, makes it go farther. Thank you, Zach. Can I have my power berry, please? Nom nom. Nom nom nom. I think that leaves me with 3 of them. Which is the swimming festival, the horse festival, and the one from the ocean. Yep, that looks about right. So aside from the truly annoying ones, I think I'm caught up. And again, I'm still having so much fun doing this. I mean, this game may not look it may not seem it, but this is so staggeringly fun. It's really kind of insane how much enjoyment I derive from these tasks. It's just go in, brush the cows, put the hay in the food bales, you know. I should not be enjoying this half as much as I actually am. And yet, here I am, having a ball. Milk your nose. That's not milk, that's bovine drool. Shear you. Incidentally, I have named all of my livestock now in advance. They're sitting in a text file so I don't accidentally miss anybody. And just because of how many there are, I very quickly hit the limit of people who are actually in my videos and people I actually LP with. And had to go with famous people who would probably never talk to me much. So yeah, once I get those livestock, which might be next week? Which do I have? Ugh. Maybe when the pineapples come in. But yeah, when the livestock comes in, they will act as an unofficial plug for a lot of these people. Oh yeah, I put it away. So you're like, where's my hoe? You put it away, you derp. That's where it is. For some reason, I'm reminded of Margaret Cho's bit about Charlie's Angels. how she says she never agreed with that name. She thinks that Charlie's Angels, instead of being called Charlie's Angels, should be called And Then There's the Hoe. And she explains that the reason for this is because whenever you get a group of 3 girlfriends, there's always one nice one sweet one, and then there's the hoe. And then she just kind of grins out at the audience and says, check amongst yourselves. And if you really think about it, it's kind of true. Although in the case of some of the examples I'm going to give, it's children's stuff or very young characters, and thus they don't quite follow, so you tend to get the tomboy instead. But the first example that springs to mind, and again, we're going to substitute in this case tomboy instead of complete slut. You got the nice one, or you got... No, there's one smart one sweet one, and then there's the hoe. Smart one for the Powerpuff Girls, you got Blossom. Sweet one, Bubbles. Miscellaneous, Buttercup. This is another good example. See, I would say that the female trio from Friends, but it's been so long since I watched that I don't know which one would be which. And I seem to recall that Phoebe had her slutty moments as well, so she would have been the sweet one. You know, it does apply to the Golden Girls, though. You got Dorothy, who is the smart one, Rose, who is the sweet one, and I think we know who the hoe was. But yeah, that constantly jumps in my head. I just love comedians, male, female, whatever. And yes, sometimes there is a whatever category. If you don't believe me, watch Eddie Izzard. Speaking of whatever, that reminds me of Russell Brand saying that this look does not work without fame. Without fame, all this look says is mental illness. From what I've heard, Russell Brand is actually a really nice guy. Apparently he does a lot of stuff with homeless people. Which I believe stems from the fact that he has been in situations like that himself. Or so I've heard. But he's very entertaining. There was one guy... I cannot for the life of me remember his name, but... he was this Irish comedian. And he is just made of frickin' raw energy. I showed him to a former friend of mine. This is the one that I told you basically stole a bunch of stuff, you know. Skipped town, owing a lot of people money, etc. But I showed him this guy, and he's like, dude, calm the fuck down. And that's really the only way to describe it. This is a guy who is literally frolicking on stage. And yes, that's really the only way to describe what he was doing, is just frolicking across the stage. Okay, not a whole lot going on this week. Just one birthday, and then we're done. Almost literally, because that one birthday happens the day before we finish the week. But it's not a major birthday, so we don't need to worry about getting supplies for it. But we're good. We're good. I can probably get quite a bit of this grass done. I'm not just referring to this part. But honestly, who can tell? Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get today's money because I can't do anything at the store today. Because only the supermarket sells grass seeds, and they're kind of closed today. And we'll see what my money looks like tomorrow. Because as much as I would love to grass up this entire field, well, the parts I'm not using for crops, I would much rather have all of my cows. And if I can have the opportunity to have said cows, I will. And this is the beautiful thing about actually planting grass. Again, it's not something you can do early on, effectively. You can. Not really advisable. For the most part, you're going to have maybe one patch of grass for a while. The concept of having a field like I have, either down here or more drastically up there, not something you can just slap right into, you know? Alright, did I get these yet? I can't remember. I don't think I did. I don't think I've left the farm yet. Nope, totally didn't. Anyway, we're going to leave both Anne and Mary alone. And yes, I said them deliberately in that order so I didn't call Gilligan's Island directly to mind. Now you can't stop thinking about it. But, yeah. I almost went to Sabara to see if he had anything, and then I'm like, no, there's nothing to have. I think it might be raining tomorrow, too. Hope so. That would be nice. Onward to spring number 24. No, that makes me sad. That, however, does not. Ooh, I think I got pineapples in today. That makes me sad all over again. So yeah, depending on what crops come in today. Because I might get potatoes besides the pineapples. Anyway, depending on what crops come in today, I might have cows tomorrow. And sheep. In serious numbers at that. Yep, them some taters. But more importantly, do we have... We do not. That makes me sad. Lots of things make me sad today. Should call this the day of sadness. Well, that means tomorrow they'll be in. Wonder why they're not in today. Oh well. That's worries for another time. If the horse weren't so damn hyper, I would actually use him as a thing, but considering how many turnips I lost last time just trying to fill his saddlebags, I think I'm content to just leave him where he is for now. Incidentally, if I weren't planning to get more cows and sheep, I could probably coast on the amount of food I have now for the rest of the game. I would probably never need to buy another thing of fodder or harvest another patch of grass for the rest of the game. However, them's quitter words. Why be satisfied when you can be just rich? Not that the cows are going to be producing milk on the first day. Hell, they probably won't be producing milk until halfway through summer, and that's going to suck. Because here's the fun thing about the cows. They move around. A lot. And when they do, it can be very, very easy to lose track of them. To the point where sometimes it's easier to just wait until nightfall for all of them to fall asleep, so you can wander around and do what you gotta do. Which sounds a little sinister when I say it that way. The alternative is, again, to come in the morning when they're also likely to be asleep. Oh, that's right. I'm sitting here like, why don't I have more potato seeds? Because this is the last potato harvest I'm likely to get. However, I could fit another turnip harvest in here. I think I'm going to do that. I can fit this in there too. Fuck it. Also, feed the fish. Yay. Anyway, sorry about the zone out there. I'm getting sleepy. There we go. There's that. Now. Yeah, at this point, it's pretty much my duty to get one more turnip harvest in. Well, besides the one more turnip harvest that I'm already going to have in. Fortunately, I think the holidays are done, so I'm not going to have an issue of, oh no, I need to harvest the turnips and put them all in the fridge. Which would suck beyond reason. Gonna need to do the chicken soon. Now's a good time. Just for my own reference. Yeah, that's what I thought. Again, so unbelievably wonderful that I'm no longer tethered to the farm. That I could do what I did yesterday, which is fall asleep with like 3 hours left in the day. And not lose anything. Oh my god. After all these years, you have no idea what a thing that is for me. That I can just do something like that and not lose money. And the amazing thing is I've never noticed until these recordings, because I've done it before. Where I've harvested stuff and just thought, you know, I really don't have the energy to stay up this long. and just not tracked my money. And you know, back when me and my friend were goofing off and keeping meticulous records of this, you'd think I'd have noticed in my accounting somewhere. Because we actually did that, where we would count up how much I made in a day. Or how much I lost in a day. And strangely enough, for as much as I despise math, I actually like that level of record keeping. For example, in D&D, 5th edition, in League games you're expected to keep a log. Like, oh, this much stuff happened. And I actually look forward to that part. It's like, okay, I started the game with this much gold, this much XP, this many downtime days, and this much renown. And now this is what I have. I like that part, and I can't figure out why. Because I'm not a math person. I actively despise math. I really do. What I do like, however, is progress. Wow, that was Leon. Still only 42%. That is almost painfully green. Really? Did I not finish them? Okay, that's weird, but let's run with it, I guess. Yep, today's gonna be one of those long ones. I can just taste it in the air. And now off to the store we go! Why? Turnip seeds, really. Nothing more complicated than that. Can't help but think that if I had won yesterday, she'd have a red heart. Kinda like hers. Oh well, that's 2 out of 5. God, that barely even made a dent in the stuff I have. It's kind of pathetic, actually. Oh well. Make do with what you got. So yeah, I've actually been watching Nintendo Capri Sun's Wind Waker LP. Partly because during one of the, I think it was a Super Mario 3D Land or 3D World or whatever, LPs, the green rupee screen was mentioned, and I'm thinking, you know, I've seen that in, like, best of videos and all that, but never actually had the context for it. So I thought, hey, I'll watch the Wind Waker LP. And you know what? It's pretty damn cute. The whole game in general seems really cute. And here's the question, can I get inside before he sends the money? Nope. If I get off to the fridge with you... Oh, wait. I almost did a bad thing. I almost did a really bad thing. I almost went to bed without watering anything or planting these turnips. Speaking of which, how much money did I make? Which is a pretty good amount. Pineapples tomorrow should cinch it, especially if the turnips also come in. And I'm expecting the cabbage money to carry me through to the next season. Matter of fact, the cabbage money should do a little bit more than that, even. Because, to be perfectly honest, I should have the seeds for next season long before next season happens. Hopefully the pineapples will toss me over the edge there. But we'll see. Again, if I bothered to try and predict this, I probably could, but it's kind of fun to just guess sometimes. Really thought I would have pineapples today. Oh well, if I have them tomorrow, that helps too. That's the beautiful thing about pineapples. It doesn't matter when they happen, as long as they happen. Well, there are better times than others for them to happen. So, tomorrow's the 25th. Nothing special there. Just, you know, a day. Another day without rain. Hate those days, because then I gotta stay up late watering crops. Remember the good old days when I used to be able to do this while the sun was shining? Those days are over. Can't remember if I did these yet. Probably did. Oh, it looks like I did not. But is that the case? Did I not? Totally didn't. That would have made me very upset. Yeah, you sleepy bastard. Get your brush out. Go to bed. So again, this week will end with me getting the last of the kitchen implements, that being the kitchen knife. Well, with me buying it, I won't get it until next episode. But nonetheless, that'll finish off my kitchen. And with me gathering all the supplies every month, that means that I will be kind of awesome, really. Okay. Nope, no fish increase. Because I didn't feed him yesterday. God damn it. I still don't know if missing a day has any effect whatsoever. But it really annoys me whether it does or not. Show me rain. You suck. Alright, today we lead with the fish food. Also honey. Or no, I did feed the fish. Never mind. I was looking at it without, you know, doing today's food. There's the good stuff. You're gonna make me so much money. And it's gonna be so good. Anyway, the stuff from before. Now, if I'm lucky, the turnips are also in, so I can make money off of those. And have enough time to plant one last crop of turnips. You know, for financial padding. I'm vaguely reminded of Breath of Fire 3 when I look at those windows. Also Dino Crisis. Also, this game has ruined the name Natsumi for me. Because the little slogan, the little slogan at the start of this is Natsumi, serious fun. Well, in Yu Yu Hakusho, in the very last saga, there is a girl who shows up. Not a horrendous amount of screen time, but still she has a minor role. And her name is Natsumi. And every time I hear that, I think, Natsumi, serious fun. The fact that she's pretty cute doesn't hurt either. And it doesn't help matters, for that matter. Wow, my head's all floaty now. I need to finish these videos and go to bed. Okay, show me turnips. I can has turnips. Yes. Let the good times roll. I almost tossed it and I'm like, no, let's keep the symmetry. It's gonna be a good money day today. I can tell. Taste it on the wind! Derp! Yeah, that's one of the things Masayanella does, is the derp of whatever chibi she has playing the game. Like right now, as of this recording, she's doing Pikmin, so she has a little chibi Masay Olimar. Or Olimar, rather. And it is so adorable. And every time she screws up something, it'll pop up and go, derp! In a really high-pitched chipmunk Masay voice, as she would call it. And I wish I had cute little crap for that, like that for my channel. If I had the money and an artist, I would actually commission a little Larvitar for every game that I LP. Like, I'd have a little farming Larvitar. I would have a Larvitar with a pulse rifle for AVP, you know. And so on. And it would just be a thing. And it would be fun and awesome and cute. Now these just go in the rucksack. No, not like that. Ah! But yeah, I have neither the money nor the resources, as far as artists go, to make my army of Larvitars, which really makes me sad. Because that's money I would gladly spend if I had it, but I've had to cut down on everything. As it is, I might not get to see I might not get to see Jurassic World. Well, I'm going to see it, but I mean, it's going to be a struggle to see it. And that really upsets me. As, you know, it should. I mean, I will find a way to see that movie. I just don't know how I'll do it yet. Probably borrow money from Mom or something. Because like I said, I've seen every single one of those movies in theaters. And I intend to do the same here. I didn't brush either of you, did I? Yep. Thought not. Who knows, as early as tomorrow, you all could have a lot of company in here. Come here. Give me your milk. If it weren't for the sheer freaking havoc they could cause, I would just fence the cows up outside, but getting them back in the barn is something of a nightmare. And on top of that, there are the dogs. I would have to fence them in a very specific way. And that very specific way makes it very difficult to get them back in the barn in case of rainstorms. I do need to get around to finishing several of my Let's Plays that I've started, like The Last of Us, and Alien Isolation, and Equestria Bound, but for now, I'm going to focus on just powering through this thing. Because it's kind of important to me that that happens. Because this is one of those games where if I stop, I will probably never start again, ever. And I'm having way too much fun to let this thing die like that. This game deserves a lot more than that. There's actually kind of an ongoing feud among Harvest Moon fans as to whether this or 64 is the better game. And call it bias, but I have a hard time believing that anything on the 64 could be better than the PlayStation equivalent. Because what you make up for on load times, you lose in, you know, graphics and controller design, etc. And I've said 1,000 times I'm not a graphics person. So, but I mean, that manifests in the fact that if you can have the good graphics, you should probably. I mean, let's face facts, in the Nintendo era, I could play Mortal Kombat on the 16-bit Super Nintendo or the 8-bit Game Boy. Even if they both had the same number of buttons and thus the same controller interface, I would probably still choose the Super Nintendo because it didn't look as much like ass. I mean, nowadays, I look at that game and I'm like, oh my god, this is horrible. But back in the day, Mortal Kombat was the most realistic game ever. I mean, it looked like they had real people in there, etc. Which isn't so much the case now. Technology has long since marched on and left them behind. It's kind of funny how the more realistic they try to make something, the worse it looks 10 years down the line. Whereas if they just let it be a thing, like, say, Final Fantasy VI or Chrono Trigger, then it still looks beautiful even today. And, quite frankly, it kind of boggles my mind that that's the case, but oh well. Sometimes these things happen, you know? Should I water the pineapples? Because that's the important stuff. The rest of this stuff can sit and wait if it has to, but pineapples matter. Yep, pineapples are done. Good. Oh my god, my brain. It wants to go to bed. But this is a serious Let's Play and I can't just phone it in. I'm already arbitrarily bending one rule to allow myself to repeatedly play the summer festival, or the swimming festival rather, until I win. Okay, nothing else really for me to do outside of the farm right now. Honestly, next year I'll probably be so rich that I can just abandon crops after a certain point. And no, that certain point won't be winter. Smart asses. But yeah, the thing is, for as much as I snark about the 64, because I didn't have one until late, I do still enjoy it as a system. For example, while I much more enjoy the controls for Conquer Live and Reloaded on the Xbox, I would trade those for the gameplay of the original Conker's Bad Fur Day any day. For one thing, that's one of those weird cases where I just made a play for graphics, but I think the improved graphics for Live and Reloaded are actually worse than Bad Fur Day. I think it hinders, damages the experience, you know? Yeah, I did. What you gonna do about it? I'll tell you what you gonna do. You're gonna give me my damn money and you're gonna leave. 'Cause I said so. Money, 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 money. Oi, that's a lot. Not enough, but that's still a lot. You'd make me so happy if it rains tomorrow. It won't, but you'd still make me happy. But, I've said a million times that I prefer console gaming over PC gaming. And I do. And I probably always will. For example, I'm in the minority here, but I actually enjoy StarCraft 64 more than StarCraft on the computer. Because I just like the interface more. I did not have very much fun with Diablo 3 when the HeroClix judge basically forced me to play it as a job. Ugh. But I'm willing to bet, now that it's been brought up, that if I were to play it on the PlayStation 3 with a controller, I'd probably really enjoy it. As much as I loved Diablo 1 on the computer back in the day, I really loved it on the PlayStation 1. And actually, when I said back in the day for Diablo 1, I wasn't referring to, oh, back when the game was new. No, I was referring to back in the day before I owned it. When it was new and I played it on a LAN. And that's going to be important because of what happened to me. when I actually owned it. I got the game and I was so excited. I'm like, oh, I used to love this back in the day. I'm going to get online and I'm going to play with people, real people. And that was a mistake. Because you see, I didn't realize that the Blizzard net is full of assholes. I am level 1. I have almost no equipment, you know. By this point, I might be level 2 or level 3. And I'm in a big open multiplayer thing, and some guy who's like level 15 to 30 comes in and just kills me for no damn reason. And I contact the guy, I'm like, what the hell was that? He's like, well, this is just revenge for you killing me. I'm like, I've never met you before. Yeah, you killed me here. I'm like, dude, I just got the game an hour ago. I'm level 1. It said, oh, I guess it was some other guy. Oh, well. And I'm thinking, oh, well? Fuck you, dude. Now I have to go down there butt naked to get all my stuff. And by the way, you killed a lot of the stuff that would give me XP. And then another time, I was on a thing with a bunch of people coming in. And they didn't even give me the benefit of, oh, well, this is why we're killing you. They just killed me because I was there. Like 2 or 3 times. Well, here's the best part. They had been sorting their stuff in the game, like leaving a bunch of treasure at the armor guy or at the weaponsmith guy. The blacksmith, that's what he was. Just leaving stuff there to either swap with each other or to sell or to store for later, etc. So after the 3rd or 4th time that they did this, I grabbed everything, and I mean everything, and it was like 5 loads of stuff, and kept what I wanted and sold everything else. And even if they had been there to put a stop to this, they really couldn't have done anything, because in town there is no violence. And then I promptly logged off. So, for all I know, it was vendor trash. It was just stuff that was garbage to them that they didn't care about. That was worthless to them for equipment, and they had so much money that they didn't even want to sell it, and they were just disposing of it, but... fuck. So yeah, I don't play a lot of multiplayer on Diablo anymore. And the HeroClix judge doesn't understand this concept to me. Or not to me, but just in general, that some people don't like multiplayer. Like, I don't think the default for a game should be multiplayer. I think the default for the game, for any game, should be single player. Like, for example, I was telling him about the fact that Diablo 3, you have to log in to be able to play it. You can't just play single player and then it was like, well, it's for balance or whatever. I'm like, well, guess what? Maybe I don't want to play multiplayer at all. I should be able to create a character, and if it's going to be multiplayer, just basically say, oh, if you check this, then you're a multiplayer character. Be aware that you must log in to play this character ever. If you check this, this is a single player character. By checking this, you will never be able to log in a multiplayer with this character. And I would have clicked, fine. You know? But, we had this problem with Marvel Heroes. And what happened in Marvel Heroes is that I had trouble getting anything done because every time before we hit an actual instance, I would get so lagged by everybody that I couldn't do anything. And everyone would dogpile the stuff I'm trying to kill. And that's not the experience I signed up for. I wanted to play with 3 or 4 people. I wanted to play with my friends, and that's it. Not every game should be an MMO. That's one of the things I like about Star Trek Online, is the fact that everything's an instance. I mean, there are hub areas, like if you go to Space Dock, yeah, you can be surrounded by people. That's to be expected. It's fucking Space Dock. When you're flying through space, you will see hundreds of other ships. That's fine, you're flying through space. But when I come in orbit of Vulcan to start that mission where I pick up the Romulan, or the Vulcan ambassador, I'm the only one there. And that's how it should be. Now, when I go to Vulcan normally, sure, there's hundreds of people there, and that's fine. I'm just hanging out on Vulcan. But when I do a mission, it's just me and anyone in my group. When I go to Deferi, sure, there's lots of people there, and we're doing the anti-Borg missions. And there's just everybody fighting Borg left and right. Fine. But when I log in there to do the Breen missions, I'm not fighting through 37 different people shooting the same Breen. No, it's just me in my instance. And that's how it should be. City of Heroes was similar in that there was a lot more open-air stuff, for lack of a better term, where it's just you and 1,000 other people fighting criminals and whatnot. But there were so many that it never felt like, oh, this guy's killing all the trolls. I can't kill any trolls to get my Kill 30 Trolls badge. No, they're still there. You know? And for the record, if there was, it was probably something like Kill 200 Trolls, because it's never that simple. Really? Plug back in. There we go. Yeah, you never luck out, oh, just kill 30 of this. And again, once you go into instances, all that stops. But, the worst offender for this is the Old Republic, which I went on record arguing with a friend of mine rather heatedly that I think creating the Old Republic, or as it was announced back then, the Knights of the Old Republic MMO, before it was officially called The Old Republic, that it was the worst thing they could have possibly done to the Old Republic series. And I stand by that. That being said, with what they had to work with, they did an amazing job, but it could have been 1,000 times better. And it isn't, because it's a fucking MMO. Because I promise you that 90% of my issues with this game have to do with it being an MMO, and the other 10% are the MMO staff just not giving enough of a shit to check their facts. Like, I guarantee if this had been Knights of the Old Republic 3 and not the Old Republic, then we wouldn't have been fighting Grand Moffs, and it wouldn't have been the Separatists versus the Republic, and the Jedi versus the Empire. It would have been the Sith versus the Republic, as told by the Jedi. You know? Because that's what it freaking is. But no, it's the fact that unlike, say, City of Heroes, where you can have 10 different, say, technology blasters like I am. You can even have 10 technology blasters who are energy primary and tech or gadget secondary like I was, and have not one of them be even remotely alike. Or at least in appearance. They'd all fight the same, but hey, that's the thing. And like, some would fly, and some would be runners, some would jump. Some wouldn't do any of that. And everybody starts out pretty much in the same place. Whereas with the Old Republic, and this really gets on my nerves, there are only a handful of classes. For some reason I keep thinking there's like 4. I want to say there's more, but only 4 are coming to mind. But anyway, if you're a Jedi, then there are 2. There's the Jedi Consular and the Jedi Guardian. I kept wanting to say Sentinel, but that's something else. Alright, give me this last TV shopping thing. That's an expensive knife, but that's a good amount of money. Not enough for what I need, but still a good amount of money. Anyway, if you play a Jedi Guardian, then you are on a planet where 50% of its population are Jedi Guardians. The other 50% are the Jedi Consulars. There are no soldiers, there's no tech people, there's no whatever the other class is. It's just the 2 Jedi classes. And this would be fine if it weren't worked into the fucking story. Because see, the thing with City Heroes is, when you're a tech hero, there is a story, but it's kind of vaguely in the background. You know, it's not front and center the whole time. It's just little text things that you could skip. You could easily be forgiven for not knowing anything about the story in City Heroes, and that's actually a strength rather than a weakness where it normally would be. Because my tech heroes can all be completely different and independent of other tech heroes. But here's the thing. Every Jedi Guardian has the same destiny. Every Jedi Consular has the same destiny. So you're running around on a planet of 1,000 guys who have the same grand destiny that you have. To change the face of the galaxy, just like these other 37 guys. And that's where the MMO bit falls apart. If it had just been something like, say, Star Wars Galaxies, or at least as I've heard, where you're just a guy, or a girl, or something unidentifiable, just flitting around the galaxy. Ooh, I'm going to be a trader. I'm going to be a scientist. Ooh, I'm going to fix things. I'm going to break things. It'd have been fantastic. You could sign up like, ooh, I'm going to join the one guild. One moment here. Like, I'm going to join this guild. Like, I'll be part of the rebels. I'm going to be part of the separatists. Fine. Perfect. It would have been great. Why? Because you're free to be. You're free to be whatever you want to be. Unfortunately, it decided to lock you into a grand destiny. And that story becomes a noose to fucking hang you with. And here's the thing. That story would have been amazing if they Knights of the Old Republic 3. But for one thing, they could have had time to fact check, like, oh, we can't call him a Grand Moff. Why? Because the Grand Moffs were invented by Palpatine. You know, 4,000 years after all these people are dead. Oh, well, let's call him the Black General or something. Oh, we can do that. It's stupid, but we can do that, you know. Or, wow, what about all these separatists? Sorry, they weren't called separatists, they were just part of the Sith. The Sith Empire? Yeah, but don't call them the Empire, because they're not, they're the Sith. The Empire was something different. Well, what's the difference? Well, the Empire was started by Palpatine. You know, 4,000 years after all these people were dead. You know. Oh, also, that Republic armor? Yeah, quit making it look like Clone Trooper armor. Why? Because the Clone Troopers happened 4,000 years after all these people were dead? See, you can learn, you know. But, like I said, it's just... something should never be made into an MMO. Old Republic, one of those things. Star Trek works fine. Because here's the thing. Yes, in Star Trek, and this is fairly similar. Ironically, this is almost exactly the same as the thing I was complaining about with Star Wars. In Star Trek, you have... now they have a storyline where you manage to seize the day, and you're important in the future, etc. You know, like, oh, well, in the future, you're going to be a fleet admiral, and you're going to get there in less than a year, and we sent you back in time so that you can give yourself a pad on how to fight the Iconians, you know? And for the Klingons, it's the same thing, except call yourself a Tahar Master, and something else for the Romulans, but you get the idea. But here's the thing. All that's in the freaking background. I mean, yes, I haven't gotten through the whole of the Iconian War preparation thing, the Delta recruits. But it's not rubbed in your face. That's barely touched upon. So, you can actually kind of ignore that part of the story. Except that doing the Delta Recruit missions, or not missions, but bonus conditions, that's what they are. Doing the Delta Recruit bonus conditions gets you extra stuff. That's really all it's for. So when I team up with 6 other captains, technically we're all sharing the same destiny, but we're really not. It's just we went on the same missions, but not the same in every MMO, you know? Plus, there's the fact that, like in a lot of MMOs, let's say I team up with Anubis. Let's say Anubis has a computer that can run it, which is saying a lot because mine can't even run it right now after that recent update. But let's say Anubis and I are gaming on Star Trek Online. And he is, I'm shown in the ropes because I've played this game before. I've beaten most of the missions. Like, hey, Anubis, just team with me. I'll cover you, you know? So everything we can do as a multiplayer mission, we do. And he teams up with me, and he gets the same missions I get, so we complete them together. It's like, oh, we did the mission where we blow up the Doomsday Machine. Well, we both get credit for it. You know? And given that we can just replay the missions whenever we freaking please, that doesn't even hold us back. You know? Because me replaying it with him is the same as me replaying it by myself to get certain rewards. So I think it meshes better than, well, what they have us doing on other MMOs. And to steal a line from Dennis Miller Live, but that's just my opinion, I could be wrong. Like I said, to me, even though it's a similar situation, it's far less glaring in Star Trek than it is there. And pretty much non-existent in Lord of the Rings. In Lord of the Rings Online, I've never gotten that sense, even though me and the HeroClix judge had the same tutorial level and in fact completed it together in all the parts that we could. It never... For one thing, we haven't done most of the story missions. What? Oh, puppies. Hold on, how do I do puppy mission? Stu or Harris? You know what? I always give it to Harris. But we're gonna give Stu a puppy. Oh, he looks just like little Kisa. I know exactly what to do with this puppy. And no, not put him in a Sloppy Joe. And yes, that was pretty sick even for me. Yeah, like I said though. In the case of MMOs, it's just when they don't try to shove a huge story down your face, like Old Republic tries to do, and just let you play and be a rogue element, a free agent and all that, that's when an MMO is really at its strongest, in my mind. See here? No, he must be playing at the church. Now, let me check something real quick here. Okay, I wanted to check to make sure that nothing untoward was happening on Spring 28 that would require a visit to the store. Because can't store on Sundays. But we're good. Hi, May. Did you get your puppy? Yeah, like I said, I'd always given it to Harris. But it's nice to give it to Stu. Little kids should have a pet. And he's at least old enough that he probably won't accidentally kill the puppy. I would have loved to own that, actually. Okay, we are gonna talk to Juan here, so that I can prep for summertime. I have. I'm gonna need me some of these, actually. More than I should. Oofa. Alright, anyway. There's that. Yeah, these are more important than getting the cows or the grass seeds. Yeah, these are the summer seeds, because there's the red for the tomatoes. Only 4 of these. Eight of these, however. And now this next bit's a very important question. How many onion seeds do I need? Well, let's open up the summer window. And onions grow in 8 days, so I'm going to get 3 harvests, so we're going to need 12 onion seeds. And that does it for that. Yes, yes you do. You certainly do. And now, actually I think I'm done watering, about saying now I water stuff, but I don't. I think I'm done with that. Look at the little puppy. Tim, okay. Unintended Nintendo Capri Sun reference. Anyway, this video is running a little bit on the long side. Shorter than usual. It's only like 500 megabytes compared to the 600 point monstrosities I've been doing. Or 600 megabyte monstrosities. Everything watered? Yeah, I watered everything. Should I do the animal care? I know I did the chickens that are cows. And the sheep. Yep, that's important. That's very important, in fact. Good thing I checked this. Yup, completely neglected these animals. Which means I obviously didn't talk to the horse either. Is the horse maxed out yet? He is not, so he's still got a little ways to go. Almost done, and then I can maybe grab a snack and definitely get some bed. That's right, bed is now a thing that I can get some of. Need some bed. How much bed? Enough bed. Enough bed for what? Exactly. You make no sense. Oh, you realize this. You're talking to yourself. Yep, that's a sign of delirium. There is something wrong with me, and I'm not quite sure what. A minute there, I thought little bastard escaped. Like, where'd you go? Well, fuck it. We're gonna ride around the farm for a minute. You don't get out much. I love how he turns around that hard and then just goes right back in. And by I love it, I mean I'm kind of weirded out by it, actually. Just had to check. Now, because I obviously screwed up the cows, let's check the chickens. Pretty sure I did the chickens. I did do the chickens good. Chickens are done. Well, anyway, that is the last of it. That is all of the kitchen stuff. So now every upgrade in the game is done. The only upgrades I'm missing is basically the crop upgrades. I'm missing strawberries, which, well, come the end of the month I won't be, because there's 440 turnips, 252 potatoes, 105 cucumbers, soon to be over 100 cabbage, which unlocks strawberries. I'm only 10 corn away from having pumpkins. And I can have spinach now, actually. Were I so inclined, of course. Which, for the moment, I am not. But yeah, that pretty much does it for upgrades, unless you count a wife and a kid as an upgrade. For gameplay purposes, of course. Anyway, we're going to call it here. No, not read diary. Make diary entry, then sleep. There is actually a birthday coming up next week. Like, early next week, and it's Greg. It's Mr. Fuck Greg himself. The namesake, in fact. I'm probably going to half-ass an attempt to get a fish for him. But anyway, this has been Let's Play Harvest Moon Back to Nature, and I'm Kyrix, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.